It was Texas, it was Tennessee. It was what I had committed to me.
Howdy, folks. Welcome in. You have arrived at the Texas to Tennessee podcast. My name is Steve. Up top, that is Soul Gravy.
Howdy.
Soul Gravy says hi. It's his show. Be nice to him. He's nice enough to put this on for us. Tonight, very excited to have my friend Johnny Woods on the show. Welcome in, Johnny.
What's going on, fellas?
Good to see you.
Yes,
Good to
sir.
see you guys. Thank you guys for having me on here.
Absolutely.
It's
We're going to have some
been a
fun.
long time coming.
I know, man.
Yeah, there's
Love
really
what
no,
y'all doing.
well, thank you. There's really no reason why we didn't have you on sooner, other than I'm just an idiot. So I force all my friends to the end of the show. So anyway,
Hey, man, I'll take it.
yep, we're thrilled to have you here. Johnny, if you don't mind just taking a couple minutes and giving us a little bit of your backstory in case somebody out there is not familiar with your work.
That would be a lot of people, but so we'll get it going. No, I'm just a blue collar boy from Yukon, Oklahoma. I grew up. My dad was a pastor, and so I grew up all over Oklahoma. Lived in Ardmore for a little while, Paola, Oklahoma for a little while, Sentinel, Oklahoma for a little while, and then finally moved to the metro parts of Oklahoma City. And went to school there, went right to work right after that in the oil and gas industry, and I've done that pretty much my whole entire life. I've played music my whole entire life as well, but I didn't really start trying to make anything of it until probably about 5 years ago. And I just on a whim just decided that I'm gonna give this a whirl and see where this takes me. And I knew that I had a passion for music, and I thought the best thing for me to do was just to be able to put it out there. And if people grabbed onto it, then great. If they didn't, wouldn't change a thing. So, that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I'm a songwriter first and foremost, and then, still finding my way as an artist second. So.
Great. Very good. We are all right, so you get to take a little break. We bring you on here, and then we tell you, hey, you don't get to say anything for a little bit. This part of the show is my favorite part, I think. I get to quiz our friend Soul Gravy on famous folks from your hometown. So,
Okay.
yep, the town in question Johnny already mentioned is Yukon, Oklahoma. About 20 minutes west of the center of Oklahoma City, I think. 20, 30, probably. Is that right?
Probably 20 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, I got that. All right.
If you drive like Gravy does.
Yeah,
Is that slow?
the gravy train. Interestingly enough, this will come up again, but I assume Yukon's the county seat for Canadian County. Is that right?
That's correct.
Correct. All right, cool. Well, this may come back up, Soul Gravy, so pay attention.
Okay.
All right, here are the folks that are well-known, famous, aside from Johnny, that are from Yukon. And the first one is Joe Albertson.
Okay. I don't think I'm familiar, but Johnny looks like he's familiar. If you know any of these folks that he's naming, and I don't, or vice, whatever, if you got some info, chime in. Why should I be familiar with his work?
Think about the last name.
Albertson, that would be there's not that many of those here.
Okay.
But that would be in the grocery store?
Yes, sir.
Bingo.
Okay.
We're going to give you credit on that.
At here they were Cecil's for a long time and briefly changed to Albertsons before they are no longer here.
So Joe Albertson, founder of the chain of grocery stores Albertsons, and notable philanthropist from Yukon. So shout out to Joe.
First grocery store in my dad's town in East Texas, the Hawkins. I like to say that with the
Hawkins. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well done. 1 for 1.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Next one, Dan Bailey. We're going alphabetical tonight.
Okay. I don't think I'm familiar. I mean, I probably am. I just don't know off the top of my head.
You're from Texas, right?
No.
Well, he's from Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Yeah. Okay, so think Bigfoot.
Oh, the I don't. Does he drive the grape? No.
No, Dan
The
Bailey
great-
was a kicker, actually, played at Oklahoma State, and
Well, I
was a
don't know
long-time
that.
kicker for the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
Yep. All right.
I don't know that.
This one,
Sorry.
I feel semi-confident you're going to do well on this one. Gentleman's name is Garth Brooks.
Yeah, I'm from. He's an up and coming
Yeah,
guy
got
in
some
the
stuff.
country music world.
Shout out to Garth. What's your
yeah,
favorite Garth song?
Mine?
Yeah.
I really like "Bird on a High Wire." That's an underloved Garth
is.
Brooks
Okay.
song. I've always liked that song. I can't sing it, but I like it. So
Fair. Johnny, do you have a favorite?
Mine would be Papa Love Mama.
Okay, yeah,
that's
yeah.
a good one too.
Absolutely. I remember the first time I heard that, I'm like, oh, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
All right, Soul Gravy, Brad Dahlke. It's gonna
I
be
don't
tough.
think I'm familiar.
Brad is a PGA golfer.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
This one also is going to be difficult, I think. Maybe not. Max Gleason.
I know that name. I don't know why though.
All right. Well, Max goes by the name Smooth McGroove.
Yes.
Okay.
Does that help?
No, but
Okay.
continue
All right. Well, Johnny feels like
on.
he's giving us buying signs, like he knows who Max Gleason is.
Yeah, can I
so
phone a
can you tell
friend?
us?
Let's call Johnny. See
Yeah.
what the okay.
Call Johnny. So the funny story, Matt. I went to school with Max and his brother Jay.
Oh,
So their dad actually owned a music store, and I'm trying to think of what the music store was called. I'm drawing a blank. Oh my gosh, I cannot remember. Anyways, but Max is an incredible drummer, but he started doing this stuff on YouTube called Smooth McGroove. Is it Smooth McGroove?
yep.
And just making just music behind these videos,
Yep.
and they just blew up. I mean, just
Yeah, they went crazy.
smashed it.
Yep.
And Jay plays for like Philharmonics. I mean, it's incredible. Jay's one of the best guitar players I've ever seen.
Oh,
And
wow.
and Max is an incredible metal drummer and drummer just in general. But I remember they were like the music gods of Yukon High School, you know.
Super
So
cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
These are the kinds of things that we look for when we do our
Exactly.
research. So, yeah, shout out to me. All right. Let's see here. Dale Robertson. Dale was not, after some research, he was not born in Yukon, but he did spend a whole lot of time. I
don't think I'm familiar.
Dale Robertson, pretty well-known actor. You've seen him before. You might not know
Okay.
that was him, but he was in, I think, all the series of Tales from Wells Fargo, which is a little bit of a throwback. He was in Dynasty. He was on Dallas.
Okay.
The Iron Horse. He was in a bunch of movies. So shout out to Dale Robertson.
Gotcha.
He had a ranch. I went down this rabbit hole, like right on the edge of Yukon. So
I
that was
gotcha.
fun. All right, this one, High Faith. I went out of order. Gentleman's name is Grady Cross.
Okay. I'm familiar with Grady and his work with the Ragweed Boys.
Absolutely. Shout out to Grady's 66 Pub. I know Johnny's played there before, probably many times.
yep,
I would like to go
one of my
sometime.
favorite places.
Yep.
You need
for
to.
the-
It's definitely worth it.
And a killer green room, too.
Yes,
One of the best.
most definitely.
For those that aren't familiar with Grady Cross, one of the founding members of Cross Canadian Ragweed, which was a band that was founded in 1994 in Yukon. So,
I'm supposed to elaborate a little bit more on that, but I figured with a name like Soul Gravy, that was a given.
it was.
But I still should.
I kind of
keep
gave it
that
to
in
you as
mind.
a layup.
That's okay. I
Yeah.
need layups
Any of those every once in a while. All right, Johnny.
because I
Soul
can't
Gravy.
shoot threes for shit. So
Great job tonight. We'll see if we can continue it next week. Folks, make sure you tune in for that. If you're here on YouTube, that's the place probably to watch. We appreciate it. While you're there, go to your favorite streaming service and give Mr. Johnny Woods a follow as well. We'd appreciate that. All right, Johnny, we're into the goofy question section here. So this first question we start you off is called the pie question. So we're going to give you a pie. It's a musical pie. We're going to ask you to divide it into 4 sections. Those 4 sections are songwriting, recording, performing, and then everything else. That 4th piece of pie is everything that goes into running your music business. So everything that doesn't fall into one of those first 3 categories. So where do you naturally gravitate out of those 4 areas?
Songwriting.
Okay.
That most definitely songwriting.
Yep. When did you know that was your gift, or that was your thing that you were going to contribute?
The first time I even tried to really do anything with it, I was probably 25 years old. So probably about 12 years ago. Like I said, I've been musical and have played the guitar since I was 12 years old. But at the age of 25, I was working. I had been playing guitar and I was doing some cover stuff with some people. And I just decided to try to write a song. I had a friend that I worked with that was going through a really hard time at home, lost his family to being an alcoholic. And we were very close. And his story just really resonated with me. And so I was sitting on location one night, an oil field location. And I started writing this song. And I didn't think it was anything, great, but I didn't think it was anything, terrible either. So I played it for him, played it for a couple of people. Like, man, this is, really, really good. And I wrote another one maybe a week later called The Soldier, just about very big on our military and they do for this country. Exactly what we're doing right here, and then I kind of put everything down for 8 years. Honestly, I didn't really try to do anything else. So busy with raising a family and working and all of those things. Just I didn't really do anything with it. So, and then when COVID hit, that's when I was really intrigued in the writing process. I think like as you get older, things change in your life. You experience things in life and become more relevant. And I just was in that realm of writing things down that were happening to me around me, and I really found a joy in writing music and putting thoughts to paper.
A great answer. Kind of what I guess anticipated, but also I'm curious if you were going to put a percentage on the writing side of it, how much of that pie does writing take up for you?
That's a great question. I would say right now, if you're asking me that right now, I would say 65 to 68%.
Okay.
And I think, and I'm sure that we'll get into it a little bit more. There's reasons for that. I think, maybe 2-3 years ago, it was a heavy 33, heavy 35% of what still kind of the majority of, a 4-piece pie square. So, but I think more so now I'm in that realm. So
makes sense. Everybody, one of the most interesting things I think about getting to ask questions of people that I respect and think highly of when it comes to songwriting and just in general, but specifically with songwriting, is everybody has a kind of a little bit different way of going about it. So can you share with us kind of what your process in general looks like, and then I might have some follow-up questions on that.
I think what my process has been the whole entire time has been driven by melody, hearing things. And I think too, it's hard to come up with melodies that are just brand new, right? Because there's so much music out there,
Sure.
And so I think with that, it's been melody driven, coming up with a melody and then trying to find words that fit around that. I will say that the majority of times, when I do write, I typically, probably 60% of the time, I don't have a hook, which most people probably do have a hook already that they're wanting to write around. And the reason why I don't is because there's certain times, especially when you're building the song and you get to the part of the chorus and you're trying to find rhyme schemes or you're trying to find words. Sometimes those rhyme schemes or words can change in an instant, and then it flips something in my brain to where it's like, oh, here's the hook. This is where the song is going, and this is where it needs to go to. Because I feel like that if you do have the hook already, you're already in a box. You're already boxed in as a writer. Not that that's a bad thing, because I think if you're writing for, a purpose, and you're writing to find something that fits that hook. Now, if it's an undeniably great hook, well then, it's going to be a great song. But I've found myself wanting to write a love song and it ends up being a FU song, or find myself wanting to write something that is, that I'm pissed off about, about the world or the business. And then it's like, oh man, I can turn this into something positive just by changing a word in, or a line in the chorus. And so I think melody is typically how I start. And then as far as writing lyrics, it's just whatever feels good at the time. And it's, wherever my heart's at, in those moments. And then really just honing in on what is the best word, or what is the best hook, or what is the best thing that fits in this piece here.
It sounds like you like delaying some flexibility into the writing process, or
Absolutely.
you want to get further down the road and have more options. Is that
Mhm.
safe to say? Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, and then this is more of a, I don't know, just like a personal preference in terms of songwriting. Are you a notes in the phone kind of guy, or do you like to sit down and handwrite, or some other process?
I've gone back and forth. So I started off with writing things down on a piece of paper.
Yep.
And I've done that and I think that just spans from like my millennial age group. Like we didn't have iPhones in school, and we didn't have, so like the Notes app is something I didn't ever use, for the longest period of time.
Sure.
And everything like reports that I would do in the oil and gas industry, or I would do everything on paper. And there's pros and cons to that. I really do believe. But then as my time, the more I wrote and the more I started traveling to Nashville, people started, you see everybody using Google Docs, and you walk in there with a notebook and a notepad. You kind of look like I don't know, you don't look like you're supposed to be there. So I thought, well, I better get on the Google Docs app.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm an outlaw.
Yeah. So started doing that for a while. And then I've hit this recent point in time in my life where it's kind of like, man, just do you.
Right.
Do what you love to do. Do what makes you feel comfortable. So I went to the store and I bought a planner, and I write all my stuff in there every day that I do, wherever I'm at, or what I've got coming up. And it's so much easier for me to just fumble through that and look at that than it is to go through my phone. It just is easier for me.
Yeah.
And so with that, I bought another notepad. And over the last 2-3 months, I've wrote every song, down on a piece of paper. And I love it. And I just feel like the old dude in the room, but,
It's okay.
I'm embracing that, So.
Yeah, I love that. I don't know that everybody here knows, so I feel like I should share, but can you tell us a little bit about the publishing deal and how that kind of came about and how that kind of changed your perspective on things, maybe?
Yeah, so I've been offered a couple different publishing deals, and to be clear, I still have not signed a actual publishing deal.
Okay.
I've had a couple different offers, and I still, I write over at Sony, I write over at Warner Chappell, and I've got a management deal that really helps out, but I've really kind of held everything in, just dealing with and writing with other people that didn't have or that don't have publishing deals that are incredible songwriters, and they have great merit and they have great songs out there and they are making a living at it. It's been one of those things like where I want to be able to have the cards in my hand to be able to show like, hey, this is what I'm worth. And, I'm not going to take a publishing deal just for the title of it. And, and so that you can have 50% of, my hard work and not get paid really anything for it. So I'm still completely independent, still not saying that I wouldn't do that, but I'm just,
Right.
we're right on the cusp of, like I said, I've got some cuts out there and I feel like I'm writing, good music. It's not all great. And anyone that tells you that every, song that is great is,
Yeah.
maybe it is, maybe to them it is, but it's, I feel like I write maybe 1 to 2 great songs a year, maybe, and I write a lot of songs.
Yeah.
And so just kind of biding my time on that because, I don't have anything to lose on that end of the deal.
Sure.
I still have, a day job and I still work very hard and I put 60 hours plus into that. And then, just as much of that, back into music too, at some points in time, some weeks. So
Yeah, absolutely.
it's a grind and it's supposed to be,
Well, I was going to ask. Usually, this is something that Steve will ask later in the pod. But given that information that you had, or that you were kind of saying, as far as knowing your worth, not rushing into a deal, has there been anybody that you've talked to that's kind of helped you kind of guide in that direction, or you just figured it out as you go on your own?
Yeah, there's, I think in the music business, there's only very few people that you can trust, honestly. And that's just me being honest.
Understand.
And for a reason, it's all about, what can you do for me? And, those things. And you have to be that way. I don't hold a grudge towards that. I don't look at it as a way of like, oh, that's selfish or whatnot. But it came as a shock for me because being in the oil and gas industry, 99% of the people that I came across and dealt with and worked with for, 15 to 18 years, the last 18 years of my career have been great people. It's a brotherhood. It's a big industry, but it's small. And so when I went into the music business, I'm like, man, there's some real motherfuckers out here. There is no lie about that. and you learn real quick to know who you can trust and who you can't. So the people that I have trusted with, those things, and I've talked with those things, one would be, Dave Finley. He's a really good friend of mine. If you don't know who Dave Finley is, you're not living clean. This dude he's number one. Incredible songwriter, and 2, an incredible voice, and 3, most importantly, he's just an incredible guy. And so I've talked to him, a lot about that stuff. Ian Flanagan, another guy that's, and these guys have record deals, they have publishing deals, and the whole 9 yards. And there's people that I've talked to more about the business side of things, like Adam Hood and Zach Wilkerson, that are friends and people that I write with as well. And those are the type of guys that they shoot you straight every time.
Yeah.
And you never have to question what their motives are, and you never have to question their ability to be able to give you the right advice and to be able to take where you're at and say, yeah, me too, I've been there, And so I think that's where you have to, those are the people that I would say that are, in my circle that I look up to, that have given me advice in that.
Yeah, understood. That was, usually Hood comes up on the podcast at least once every episode, so we made it.
It's amazing.
25 minutes in before
We
he
need to
come up.
we need to have a bet coming. Y'all need to have a
We've
sports
debated
bet.
on changing the name of the podcast to 7 Degrees of Adam Hood. But
I think he would. I don't know if he'd approve that, but
hey, will you come on the 7 Degrees of Adam Hood show?
if we could get like a little flag that pops up when somebody mentions him,
Yeah.
just like
Celebration.
a little ding. Yeah.
I'll work
Yeah.
on that. I'll get one. I'll get a picture. I'll work on that. Since you mentioned Zach, let's talk about that. You've done some shows with Zach Wilkerson here recently, as far as you did the one in Nashville. I know for sure.
Yeah.
And you made Zach have to play without his Strat, which I thought was, just seeing it on social media, I was like, oh, that's congratulations on prying the red guitar out of his hands.
Yeah, it's Talbot, set all that up. Thanks, Steve. And and I'll say this too, like, it's not a lot of people talk about being at the right place at the right time and getting lucky, and I think there is a lot to say about that, but it's not always about being at the right place at the right time. It's about believing in a future that you can't see and preparing for a moment before it shows up. I think that's the most important thing. And because the funny thing about Zach is I played a show in Texas, and there was a buddy of mine that was dating a girl, and we were coming back from a show, and she starts playing these songs, and I just stopped immediately, and it was off Zach's first record.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Who is this?" And she said, "Oh, this Zach Wilkerson." And from that moment on, I downloaded everything he had, and I was just honestly blown away by his, writing abilities, his vocal abilities, and his just delivery in the music. It was so refreshing to me, because that's the kind of music that moves me as a person. Like, it's just like that soul.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about soul music, Motown, and that, the blues that just, oh man, it just gets me going. And so I remember sitting in an Airbnb, and I was just listening to stuff through the headphones, and I'd already, I'd wrote with Adam Hood, and I'd made a connection and had wrote with him, and had, became friends with him. And it was kind of the same thing. I looked up, and I just told myself, I'm going to write with this guy. One day I'm going to write with this guy. I'm going to find a way to put myself in the position to be able to meet him, and hopefully he get the opportunity to make an impression and be able to write with him. And sure enough, I meet Steve, and we connect, and I see Steve at a Zach Wilkerson show, and I'm like, "Do you know this guy?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, he's really good buddies." I'm like, "Man, can you hook a brother up, even if it's just even if it's just coffee?" Because like those people, I look at people like Hood, and I look at people like Zach, and I see them like those are my Chris Stapletons,
Understood.
Those are my guys that I'm like, man, I want to get inside your head, and I want to get to know you, and we don't have to talk about music. We don't have to talk. Well, we can talk about fishing. We can talk about anything. And you can put me in a room with anybody, and I can promise you, I'm going to find somebody to talk to somebody about something, that we're going to find something in common. Oh, you like donuts? Me too, bro. What's your favorite? So, and so I think that's how, it started with Steve. And, Steve had mentioned, he's like, man, I don't know. He said, let me talk to him. And at first it was kind of a, and I don't know thing. Maybe it will work. Maybe it won't. And I was completely fine with that. And I wasn't going to push anything. And then when Steve had said, hey man, Zach's, willing to write and would love to, meet you. And I was just kind of going through a really rough time. And I kind of put all of those things kind of on the back burner because I didn't want to ruin my chance and not be able to bring 100% to the table whenever I got the opportunity. So I kind of let that fade. And then when I finally started getting a little bit better and being in a little bit better headspace, I told Steve that I was ready, and I just said, man, hey, I'm going to Nashville. I've got an opportunity to write at Apple Music and would like to see if you'd like to come play. And Steve made it happen. And man, I picked Zach up, and from the get-go, I was just like, did we just become best friends? Do you want to do don't touch my drum set. Do you want to go do practice karate in the basement type thing?
That's cool.
And two, like, I know I'm talking a lot, guys, too, but that's just me.
Kind of the deal.
I found out that we had a lot in common. Like just being, doing the whole church thing and getting burned out on that and getting burned and. Zach had a lot of really good, I was in a place where I was ready to talk about some of the things. Like, man, this is the type of music I love to write. It's challenging and it has structure and it has meat and it has legs to this music, and I'm tired of writing for the market and I'm tired of writing things that don't have any substance, but I'm, what do I do, and Zach's exact words were, man, you just gotta be obedient to the music of whatever you want to choose to do, like whatever your passion is, like go do it. And just sometimes it's the simplest things like that just make you go, yeah, I get it.
Well, as far as Zach and Adam both, in that Texas Oklahoma world, they carve out a pretty good living and a pretty substantial fan base. Just and they're left or right of center as far as that Texas country scene is considered. Zach is, both of them are very soulful. Not straight down the middle country. I don't know if I've ever heard a steel guitar on either one of the. Maybe, I'm not sure. Yes, but it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Did I just puzzle you, Steve? You're like,
Yeah,
oh
no,
shit.
I was trying to go through in my head and be like, I think Adam might have had one, but
It's not
sure.
many. I don't know. As I was saying, and I was like, I'm probably going to regret this.
No.
But still, the point is they're not straight traditional country, and they have kind of their own thing. They're very similar. I love both of those guys, and the way they carry themselves and the way they treat people.
Absolutely.
All those things.
I will say this. About the thing that sticks out to me about Adam and Zach, they're not, necessarily country or whatever, but the thing that it just draws me to them is simply this. In all of the songs that they write or the songs that they put out, I truly believe they write in a way that there's no wasted lines. There's not a wasted lyric. There's not a filler. There's not anything. Everything has substance to it. And when you read it on a piece of paper, it's like reading a damn story. Yeah. And I think that's, to me, is like, dude, that is songwriting, and that is incredible. And that's the goal as a songwriter. You don't want wasted words or just to make something rhyme.
When you look at those two, is it something that did the light bulb kind of go off for you that you can make your own sound and make your own place in the business?
Absolutely. I think that there's, because just like Zach and just like Adam, they take things from Willie and Motown and the Allman Brothers and they've taken those things and they've made it their own. And so that's kind of me. I take a lot of things that Adam does and now Zach, it's just kind of like, man, I can still be Johnny, but I can still find this, still be in that realm of just, soul roots, soul country, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a great lead in. We flew by halftime.
That's okay.
We are going to play one of Johnny's songs. It's called Taking the Risk. And if you like the sound that we're talking about, go to Johnny's, wherever you stream music, and follow him, and you'll have more of this. So we're going to give it a listen. Just as a reminder, we're going to go silent here. So
You wanna set us up for it, Johnny, or you wanna tell us when we come back?
I can tell you when we come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. Here we go. Johnny Woods, Taking the Risk.
Got me going under, and under you is heavenly. I raise my white flag to surrender. I'm giving up on being free. Yeah, your love, it drives me crazy. And a crazy that I've never known. But it's a blade that can cut me all the way to the bone. So I'm taking the risk with my heart and my love, and in the front of my mind, oh baby, I know that you can take it and break it when push comes to shove, but still I can trust that you won't ever leave me alone. I've heard a million times from others that only fools go rushing in, and I've made enemies of lovers. That's the way love has been. And so I wrap my heart in armor. I built a wall safe and sound, but your touch was like an earthquake that made my walls come tumbling down. And so I'm taking the risk with my heart and my love in the front of my mind. Oh baby, I know that you can take it and break it when push comes to shove, but still I can't trust that you won't. Yeah, I thought my life was all black and white, and then you came in and showed me color. I'm not stuck in the gray. The sun shone that day, and you found me, and I'll never want from another. So I'm taking the risk with my heart and my love, but in the front of my mind, well, baby, I know you can take it and break it when push comes to shove, but still I can trust that you won't ever leave me alone. Never leave me alone.
Alrighty. Welcome back.
Thank you for playing that.
No, thank you for
Yeah, good stuff.
Well, the deal my grandpa did. Thank you for thanking me for thanking you for thanking me.
Tell us a little bit about that tune, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so I think that was the third song that I wrote with Hood, and I had just an idea to write a love song, and kind of had the verse and chorus ideas, and we just sat down. Actually, wrote it over FaceTime, of all things, and I just fell in love with the song. The more and more I listened to it, more and more I played it, and so I hollered at Adam. I said, "Man, do you mind if I cut this song?" And he said, "Man, yeah, I'd love you to." And so we started in the studio, and I just had this idea of, like, man, I really want to do horns. And at the time, honestly, the only people that were doing horns at the time were like maybe Whiskey Myers, and like the Red Clay Stray stuff hadn't even really came out yet,
Right.
or come out strong. And so, we started messing with that Memphis sound. I took it to my producer, and we produced this song. And the crazy thing was we just, as far as, Adam and I wrote this probably within, an hour and 15 minutes. And it was just really easy. The song was really easy to write. So we went into the studio, and we kind of worked it up together in the studio. And producer, he hit record, and we record. It's the first time I'd ever recorded it as a full band in the studio, because most of the time you do things a little differently. You do a rhythm section and then stack one and all these other things. But we went into the studio and recorded this song as a full band, and we recorded it one time, and everybody got up and we walked to the control room, and we all just looked at each other and we're like, that was it.
Yeah.
Like, and that's legitimately, that was the first take. And I put a final vocal on it, and that was it,
Yeah. Well,
and
it's lovely.
so, but yeah, it's some cool things. I mean, like, Dan Walker from Heart. I don't know if y'all know the band Heart is. He played B3 on this song, so that's pretty cool.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And the rest of the guys were just local guys that I use all the time there in my studio in Edmond, Oklahoma, at the music group, and they've been great, man. They're family. I mean, so.
I know that's not always possible for artists and bands to record live like that, but I can't help but feel like there's something special when it does come together as a group, a live recording like that. I don't know, like I wouldn't have known that information, but I feel like you could feel it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always happen like that, because we tried to do it. We tried to do it about 6 weeks later as a band, and it was a train wreck. It's like, well,
Sounds like Memphis.
Also
Yeah.
sounds like the first 10 minutes of this podcast usually. So, yeah, to be fair.
no.
We, Johnny, you've kind of alluded to it a little bit, but just want to talk a little bit about some of the changes in your world in the last,
Yeah.
I don't know, little bit. So anything that you want to share?
Yeah. So for some of you that know or don't know, I was, diagnosed with leukemia last August, and I've kind of, I've made a post or two about it, and I kind of have kept things pretty private for the most part. And after talking with, encouragement from friends and family, I've been encouraged to really, maybe speak out a little bit more and share a little bit more. And, so it's been a battle, day to day, with side effects from medications. I'm on my fourth treatment plan or type of medication. A lot of medications haven't worked for me. They've either caused severe side effects, or they've they've caused a lot of problems to vital organs like my heart or my liver, kidneys, and things like that. So they've been trying to find, a new medication. So they did find a new medication for me about a month and a half ago, and it seems to be doing what it's supposed to do. And I'm just kind of, going through the motions with the side effects and trying to figure out what I can and can't handle. It's causes a lot of fatigue. I have to really tired a lot of the time, a lot of bone pain, a lot of muscle pains and things like that. And I think that just comes with the territory.
Right.
But if, cancer sucks, everybody knows that. And, I don't share anything out of sympathy. I don't want sympathy. If anything, like I just, when people, sometimes like if it's people that I don't really know that well and they know about it, there's been times where I can tell they're about to bring it up and I'm like, oh, gotta go, type thing,
Yeah.
and because, not that I don't want to share, but I just don't want people to feel, I think that's the part of cancer that really sucks, is because the people that do care for you and do love you, it's not like you got the flu. The mindset of like, oh, he's going to be okay, or he's going to get better. This could be a forever thing for me, and it's a battle. And so when people hurt for you and that there's not an end to that, man, that hurts me more than I promise you that it hurts them, because I don't want people to fret for me or to worry about me. But I have noticed, or I have come to grips with the fact, even talking with Zach, he's like, man, I really encourage you to share more about it, because, every artist, every songwriter has a story. And in some cases, a lot of those things are kind of fabricated or made to fit a certain thing. And he said, but yours is not, it's real. It's a real thing. And people see that you're not looking for sympathy. You're not looking for, handout or whatever. And so he's like, lean into those things. And so, and I've gotten that encouragement from friends and other artists and things like that. And honestly, if I've learned anything from this experience, it is to wake up every single day with a purpose, whether you feel like you can't or you can. And because there's inspiration to be found in other people's pain, in other people's story. And a lot of times, you get a lot of, hey, me too, man, I'm going through that, man. Like, I'm glad to see you out there. It has slowed me down. And I think that's the hardest part, is because, as a 37-year-old male, it's, leukemia is not a common thing. It's really kind of an old person's cancer, or a super young person's cancer. Right. And so I'm kind of in this middle, and it sucks for a guy like me whose only speed is fucking go. Like, and so whenever that gets hit with, hey, you can't do that like you used to, it really does. You start kind of grieving a life that you felt like you should have had, that you don't have. But then again, you think about it and you're like, man, you just get up and do it. And, if you feel like you can't that day, if you don't want to deal with the BS, then don't, and I think it's been helpful too, because it's changed my writing capabilities. Even with Zach, I wrote with Zach, and going back to talking a lot about Zach and talking a lot about Adam, because they really do, they mean a lot to me. But, Zach challenged me in a way of writing in a way that I never wrote before. Like, we didn't even pick up a guitar till we wrote the whole song. And I was like, this guy's a maniac.
Right.
He's a freaking maniac. Like, how? And then he just starts in with this melody, and I was like, yep, that's it, and but it also, going through the cancer, like, it really does, it's made me write differently. It's stretched me as a human. It's made me look at life through a different lens. And I think we all as artists, or at least me anyways, we all battle with insecurities, and we all have, for me, there's been people that have told me that, I wasn't good. I wasn't a good vocalist. I wasn't this and it wasn't that. And, at the end of the day, it's like, you can't let the wounds that other people, have given you to be a part of something that you see yourself through. Like you can't look at yourself through that lens of the wounds that they gave you, because that's not who you are. It's not, your worth isn't measured by their inability to see you. And so I've really grabbed hold of that, and I've just really come up with the attitude of like, oh, if you don't like me, well, that's fine. I don't care. I don't have anything to prove here besides, I'm just doing what I love to do.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Do it with the people that I love to do it with.
Well, I've known you for a little bit, and I've considered you to be a pretty brave person even prior, but this changes things. You can't, there's no way around it.
Yeah.
It changes perspectives, it changes day-to-day functions, it changes everything. So
Sure.
you're incredibly brave for talking about it, and obviously there's a large group of folks out there that are praying for you and thinking about you a lot. So
I appreciate it, man.
that. Yeah.
And I will say one more thing too about the whole cancer thing is, my my faith is it's been tested. 100%. It's definitely been tested, but it's not been shaken at all. And I truly believe that God has already won this battle, and that I'm just walking through it with him. And I want people to know that, I am a believer, and I believe that God is in control, and he's not surprised that I have cancer, and he's not surprised that there are days I wake up and I'm pissed off at him, and I'm pissed off at everything else in the world. But,
Sure.
I'm past, I feel like I'm, 90% past the whole, like, why me, this isn't fair, and you just like with anything else, man, we all have problems. We all have things that we deal with that are, that suck. And it's just, you got to find a way to make a story out of it. And you got to find a way that it's inspiring to other people that are struggling too. So.
Absolutely.
Have you had any folks since you kind of made it public and talk about it that are kind of going through the same thing, just kind of just, I guess, commonality, or just thanks for the message, it helped me sort of thing?
Sure. There are. I mean, definitely there have been people that have reached out to me, and there's been a lot of like, my grandma had that, or, some things like that. And I love that. But yeah, have been some people out there that have sent me messages like, man, I see the struggle that you're going through, and just the strength that you have to just pursue every day as it's a new day is inspiring. And so, man, to me, that's just, and too, like, man, to see you still working, to see you still writing music, to see you still traveling, and to do all those things, like, dude, that's, I get that quite a bit, and it's inspiring.
Did it make you more motivated as a writer?
Oh,
After you started, feeling a little bit better and getting your feet back up from under you, were you even more motivated?
yeah, because the first 3 months that I had cancer, I did not write one song, and I tried so hard for 3 months, 3 straight months, and literally could not put a melody, words to anything. And I thought I lost it, to be honest with you. I really did. And then one day it clicked, and I sent that song to everybody I knew, and I was like, I didn't lose it, type thing. And from that moment, that's when I was like, okay, let's go.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, you were. I mean, we were talking about it earlier as far as why you weren't on earlier. That actually was part of the. You were starting to go through that right as we were kind of getting rolling with this thing, and glad that you came on the pod and shared your story and all of that stuff.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on here,
Yeah.
and I appreciate your friendship, and especially Steve, man. Like, that's the thing is you just, you put yourself in the position to be around people that are true and that are real and that want to help you and that want the best for you. And, you know, there's nothing I wouldn't do for, any favor that, Steve calls, ask, Chris, if you called, ask, whatever. I mean,
Yeah, it's obviously mutual. So
Yeah.
I do want to, there's two things I want to, well, there's one topic I want to cover that we haven't covered quickly if we can. And
Yep.
then we have a rapid fire and then a very important question to finish with. So
Sweet.
can you talk a little bit about kind of how you view social media? Because I know there's lots of different views out there, and just kind of curious how you view that as a tool.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to view it, I'll be honest with you, I used to view it as like, this is stupid. I didn't sign, I'm an artist, or I'm a songwriter, this is not my job.
You're not alone.
And, and like, I really felt that way. I thought this is stupid, because you see, and that's a generational thing, for a later millennial or an earlier millennial or middle millennial. And because we were on the back end of where internet didn't control our lives. I mean, like, I grew up where it was completely perfectly normal to see a kid get his ass whipped in the grocery store,
Right.
and it's not like that anymore. So I'm literally just at the beginning of it, I was like, this is dumb. And, the more and more I think about it or the more and more I thought about it, I quickly realized that if you want to have any success in this business whatsoever, social media is a huge chunk of the pie. It's one of the biggest chunks of the pie there is. And whether you like it or not, it's there. And you either adapt and you adapt to their culture, or the culture just spits you out and chews you out and spits you out. And I've gone about it two ways. Either I complain about it and don't do it, or I do it, or better yet, if you have the means to do it, just pay somebody else to do it for you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a million ways to do that. And I'm still not great at it. I'm still learning and all of those things. And because my deal is I'll record something and then I'll type it out. And either my phone will ring and I'll be on an hour-long conversation. And then when I get back on my phone, it's gone. And I'm like, I'm not doing that again.
Right.
Or I'll type it out and I'll get ready to hit post. And I'm like, man, that's stupid as shit. I'm not posting that. Like, this is something like
We've been there.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my view. I think that it's necessary. I've grown to just embrace it and to just change with the times.
Well,
I type stuff out and realize, and like, man, this is fire right here. And then I hit it, and then I go back 10 minutes later, and there's like tons of misspellings and left out words, and I'm like, well,
there are just a little bit different perspective. There are plenty of reasons why social media isn't, the answer to a lot of things. But I mean, I don't get this relationship that I have with you. In a way, the thing with Zach maybe doesn't happen for a while down the road. Like, that all happened because of social media. So
absolutely,
you got to look at both sides of it, and I think it's important. So,
dude, like Adam Hood. Real quick.
Yep.
Adam Hood. I did a podcast and I talked about just I was gonna go out and just my goals were to write a song with Adam. And I reached out to Adam. On social media.
Yeah.
And we weren't friends or nothing. And like, that's how that relationship started. And we were like, He was like, you come to Nashville? I'm like, never been. He's like, well, do you want to, I want to be in Nashville these days. And I went, and that's where my Nashville stuff started, was because of Adam. So
that's great. All right. Let's get to the rapid fire, and then, we have to a little bit more anticipation for the big question at the end. I think you are old enough for this question, but we'll find out here shortly.
Okay.
What's an album that you purchased more than once?
Ooh, man. An album that I purchased more than once.
Think of CD or whatever.
I'm trying to. It was a Blink-182 album.
Okay.
I can't remember which album it was. It was the one that had "I Miss You" on there.
The one with the lady with the glove on the front?
Not that one.
Okay.
After
Not
that.
one. After that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about, but I couldn't tell you what it is. All right. You get dinner with one historical figure. Who are you having dinner with?
One historical figure.
Could be anybody.
Probably Jesus, honestly.
Good answer. We touched on this a little bit, but what would be an ideal green room for you? If you could say, this is what I want in my green room.
Like what would I want on my writer, or what, or like
Yeah,
what would
or just
what
like
a green look like?
Yeah, what would be like kind of
Both.
the things that would be most important to you?
A Pac-Man machine or a Pac-Man game
Nice.
in there.
Has anybody got
So-
quarters?
Yeah. Maybe a green room where you can play washers or cornhole.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I love those things. Obviously, a TV and Mountain Dew Code Red.
There you go.
And McAllister's Deli, chicken tortilla
Got it.
soup, or
Ah.
sandwiches.
The best.
Yeah.
Love that tortilla soup. All right. So first concert that you attended, and then the first concert that you paid to go see.
First concert that I attended would have been a Switchfoot concert in Norman, Oklahoma, I believe.
All right.
I went with my cousin Julie. She took me,
Thanks,
and
Julie.
it was outside at the university. It was really cool. They had just dropped the Dare You to Move album.
Yeah.
And then first concert that I paid for was a Randy Rogers concert at Southwestern Oklahoma State University gym,
Oh, nice.
and watched them play, and that was incredible. And then from there was my love for Red Dirt. Then I went over to the next weekend or so. We snuck into JC Cowboys and went and watched Casey Donahue Band.
Awesome. Very, very cool.
Mhm.
All right, one more, and then we'll pass it over to Soul Gravy. What's a venue inside of Oklahoma that you haven't played that you'd like to play, and then what's a venue outside of Oklahoma that you haven't played that you'd like to play?
Venue inside Oklahoma. Probably. Is it the Cotillion or Criterion?
Criterion, yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I was lucky enough to play Kane's Ballroom, and that was,
Yeah.
that was
Amazing.
yeah. Outside of Oklahoma would be the Ryman, honestly, if I'm
Yeah.
being honest.
Yeah, no, hell yeah, absolutely. All right. Are you ready for the big question?
Definitely.
All right, here it comes.
Late
All
on.
right, everybody, make sure you go follow Johnny on all of his socials. Whenever he posts something, we know that it took him 5 tries to get that thing posted. So make sure you engage with it, like it, comment, say congratulations on getting it posted. Whenever he's got new music coming out, just keep up with any independent artist. When they ask you to pre-save stuff, hit that button. Do the shares. It doesn't cost anything, but it means a ton to
Absolutely.
all of these artists. So, all right, Johnny. This question started as a joke on episode 1, and it's still rolling. So, Johnny, what is your favorite Little Debbie snack?
Oh, oatmeal cream pie.
Okay, all right.
Well, no doubt.
That
Doesn't
was a
there's not
slam dunk with authority right there.
yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Well done. All right, Johnny. Thanks so much for taking time. We're gonna have you hang back for just a second, folks. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate your time.
Yep. Thank y'all.
See ya.
All right. See ya.